Acid soil. Soil that has pH value less than 7. A horizon. Soil horizon consisting of mineral soils which have the maximum organic matter. Accumulation biological activity. Air porosity. The proportion of the volume of soil that is filled with air at any given time or under a given condition, also called as soil porosity. Alkaline soil, soil that has a pH value greater than 7. Alluvial fan, a fan-shaped deposit accumulated at the growth of the canyon or at the foot of the mountain. Alluvium, sediments that which are deposited by running water or stream, also called as alluvial materials. Ammification, the process which decomposes amino acid by soil bacteria, resulting in the production of ammonia or ammonium. Anion, a negatively charged ion formed by the addition of electrons to atoms or molecules. Available water, a portion of soil water that can readily be absorbed by the plant roots. Bedrock, the solid rock underlying the soils and the regolith with which in depths ranging from 0 to several hundred feet. Horizon, a soil has usually beneath a horizon that is characterized by the presence of concentrated silicate clays, iron, aluminum oxide, and humus. Capillary fringe, a zone just above the water table that remains almost saturated. Capillary water, soil water held in the soil pores that is readily absorbed by the plant roots. Cation, a positively charge formed by removal by electrons from atoms or molecules. Cation exchange, the interchange between the cation in solution and other cation on the surface of any surface active materials. Chemical nitrogen fixation, a fixation that takes place at high temperature and pressure in producing ammonia, which is used for manufacture fertilizers. Sea horizon, a mineral horizon general beneath the soil that is relatively unaffected by biological activity. Clay, a soil separate consisting of particles less than 0.002 mm in diameter. Cohesion, a force holding a solid or liquid together owing to attraction between like molecules. Collovium, a deposit consisting of rock fragments and soil materials accumulated at the base of steep slopes as a result of gravitational action, also called as collovial material. Compost, a mixture of organic residues that have been peeled and allowed to undergo biological decomposition and used as fertilizers. Decomposition, the process of dissolving minerals and organic materials into new compounds, also called as chemical weathering. Denitrification, The biochemical reduction of nitrate or nitrite to gaseous nitrogen. Denitrifying bacteria. Bacteria that is capable of changing soluble nitrogen compounds into gaseous nitrogen. Desalination. The removal of salts from saline soil, usually by leaching. Diastrophism refers to the action of forces causing earth crust to be deformed, producing mountains or changes of level. Disintegration, the reduction of the rock to smaller places, mainly by chemical means, also called as mechanical physical weathering. Duff a forest humus that is found in the transition zone of the horizon that may be produced either into more or mole. Edaphology, the science that deals with the influence of soils in living things, particularly plants, including human use of land for plant growth. Elevation, the removal of soil materials from the zone impoverishment to the zone of enrichment. Essential element, a chemical element required for the normal growth of plants. Fertile soil, a soil that has substantial amount of readily available elements necessary for plant growth. Fibrous, an organic soil which has the least decomposed of all organic soil materials, containing very high amounts of fiber that are well preserved and readily identifiable as to botanical origin. Fixation, the process in a soil by which certain chemical elements essential for plant growth are converted for exchangeable for to non-exchangeable form. Next is F layer, a layer of forest floor that is immediately below the letters, consisting of fragmented or particularly decomposed organic materials. Floodplain, the land burdening or stream built up of sediments from overflow of stream and subject to inundation when the stream is a flood stage, also called as bottomland. Forest, an organic soil which has freely drained hestosols, consisting primarily of leaf litter, which some twigs and branches that rest on rocks, stones, and boulders whose voids are filled with organic matter. Forest floor refers to all organic matters, including letters and decomposing organic layers, resting or the mineral acid soil surface. Gravitational water, a water that moves into, through, or out of the soil under the influence of gravity. Grain manure, a plant material incorporated with the soil while grain are soon after maturity for improving the gas. Next is humus, an organic soil which is intermediately in degree of decomposition of organic materials between the less decomposed sulfuric materials. Each layer, a layer of forest floor consisting largely of well-decomposed amorphous organic matter. Humanification, the process involving the decomposition of organic matter and leading to the formation of humus. humus, the temporarily end product of the decomposition of plant and animal remains. Hygroscopic water, soil water held so tightly by the attraction of soil particles that is cannot be removed by the roots of the plants except as a vapor by raising the temperature above the boiling point of water. Igneous rock, a rock that is formed by cooling and solidification of hot molten material called magma. Next is elevation, the removal of soil material from the zone of enrichment to the zone of impoverishment. Immature soil, a soil which indistinct or only slightly developed horizons because of the relatively short time it has been subject to the virus soil forming processes. Intrusive rock, an igneous rock formed when magma penetrates and fills up the space between other rocks below the surface of the earth and then solidifies. Ion, an atom or compound that is electrically charged. Lacustrine deposit. Deposit in lakes and layer exposed either by lowering of the water level or by the elevation of the land. Lava, a very hot molten mass emerging on the earth's surface. Leaching, the downward removal of minerals in solution from the soil by percolating water. Next is L layer, a layer of forest floor consisting of unaltered dead remains of plants and animals. Liming, application of lime to land primarily to reduce soil acidity and supply calcium for plant growth. Loam, the textual class name for soil having a moderate amount of sand, salt, and clay. Loess, a fine-grained deposit consisting largely of salt and spread out by wind over an area. Magma, a hot molten material found several hundred meters below the surface of the earth. Mineral, refer to all chemical solid having definite regular chemical composition and exactly defined physical or crystalline properties. Next is more porous humus in which the edge layer is present and there is no mixing of surface organic matter with mineral soil. Mal, mol, porous humus in which the F layer may or may not be present and each layer is completely absent. Highly decomposed organic matter in which the original plant parts are not recognized. Neutralization, the reaction between an acid and a base resulting in the formation of salt and water. Nitrification, the conversion of ammonium to nitrite and nitrite to nitrate, which is usually carried out by autotrophic bacteria. Nitrogen fixation bacteria, a bacteria that is responsible for formation of nitrogenous compounds from gaseous nitrogen. Horizon, a soil horizon consisting entirely of organic material, usually above the A horizon. Next is organic fertilizer, a fertilizer which is the byproduct from decomposed animal or vegetable substances contained which sufficient plant nutrients. Parent material. The unconsolidated and more or less chemically weathered minerals or organic matters from which the soil of soils is developed by pedogenic processes. Reduction, a chemical process in which electrons are gained. The negative valence is increased and positive valence is decreased. Regolith, the unconsolidation mantle of withered rocks and soil materials above the solid rock of the earth. Next is residual material, and unconsolidated and partially weathered minerals accumulated by disintegration of consolidated rock in place. Real erosion, a type of erosion in which numerous small channels of only several centimeters in depth are formed. Next is suppressed and organic soil, which has the most highly decomposed of organic materials, having the highest bulk density, less amount of plant fibers, and lowest water content at saturation. Sediments refers to all fine particles that settle at the bottom of rivers, lakes, and oceans. Soil, a natural body or on the immediate surface of the earth, composed of unconsolidated minerals, organic materials, and living form in which plant grow. Soil aggregation, a cluster of soil particles held together as a unit in soil structure, also known as soil granules. Soil bulk density, the mass of dry soil per unit of bulk volume including the air space. Soil classification, the systematic arrangement of soils into groups of categories on the basis of their characteristics. Soil colloid, a kind of mixture whose particles are intermediate in size between the visible particles of a suspension on the invisible particles of a solution. Soil conservation, an art of combining all management and land use method that safeguard the soil against depletion or deterioration caused by nature and human beings. Soil consistency refers to the physical condition of a soil at various particles resulting in single grain structure. Soil dispersion, the breaking of soil aggregates into individual particles resulting in single grain structure. Soil fertility, the status of soil with respect to the amount and availability of elements necessary for plant growth. Soil horizon, a layer of soil approximately parallel to the soil surface, differing in properties and characteristic from adjacent layers below or above it. Soil monolith, a vertical section of a soil profile removed from the soil and mounted for display or study. Soil particle density, the mass per unit volume of the soil particles. Soil profile, the vertical section of soil from the surface through all its horizon. Soil reaction, the degree of acidity or alkalinity of the soil, usually expressed in pH value. Topsoil, the topmost fertile layer of the soil, usually rich in organic matter. Weathering refers to all physical and chemical changes produced in rocks at or near the Earth's surface by atmospheric